Good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. I hope this finds everyone well. I did go out and do some thrifting, and when I do that, I usually just come live and show it. And got this box from Raven's Chest, which I know there's goodies in there. So before you come in the chat, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video. So I didn't pick up a whole lot while I was there, but I believe I did find some really nice things. And that this was kind of one of my slower days because usually I walk out of there with quite a bit, but you never know what they're going to have. It's always a pleasant surprise. And I just picked up a few things, but they're nice things. So we'll give it just a few minutes for this notification to go out. I always come live directly after I go thrifting. That's been like a tradition with me, and that's how I roll, I guess, but we'll give it a few minutes. So, in the meanwhile, speaking of Raven's Chest, he was having this brooch hat challenge. So this is my brooch hat, and it's a little heavy, but this is a vintage hat. There's some pins on there that I received from a subscriber, and this is like a velour, and it has feathers. So that is my brooch hat. So I'll submit that. So we'll set her over there for a minute. So we have this box from Doug, and I got to go here and get my little cutting apparatus. And there's Brian. Welcome in, sweetie. This is my submission for my brooch hat. Are we rocking it or what? We are definitely rocking the hat. So that is my brooch hat, and Raven's Chest Doug is having that little challenge. So that is my creation. He said it could be one brooch or many brooches. And yes, this is a vintage hat, and it's the reason why it's down there because it's heavy. And I did thrift this as well. It's kind of like I don't know what you would call that. So I thought I'd let Debbie model that, but I think it's really nice, and that is my submission. So I think that's a hat that I haven't worn yet, but, like I said, I'll send him a picture of that, and he's going to have a live and show all of these hat submissions on his chat. And hello, Laura. But I tell you, that pin right there is extremely heavy, that butterfly. But this is my submission. Never walked away from a competition. But anyway, this is my submission. And hello, Penelope. Welcome in. Isn't that amazing? It's a vintage hat. And she's like Minnie Pearl. She still has her tag on, like Minnie Pearl as in howdy. And it's good to see you, Penelope. And this came from Stein Mart. So if that tells you anything right there. And I did this. Hey, Face the Ace, welcome in. I did purchase this at a thrift shop because I'm thrifty like that. So, it's always fun to get involved with other activities on YouTube, and it's always fun. So, I have been concluding packing on one person's stuff. Oh my God. And It'll be going out soon. Thank God they have patience. So we have a box from Raven's Chest right here. And yes, small things do come, good things do come in small packages. And like I said, I went thrifting today. I dropped a little hint in a short so you guys would know what was up. And anyone that knows me knows that normally I come straight home and just do the video. That's how I've always done it. And that's just how I roll. So let's get into this box. I'm really excited because I remember what was in this. And Laura, would you drop Raven's Chest channel in the chat, please? What did I do with it? I've been up here cleaning. It's a wonder if I can find my mind, much less anything else. So hang on, guys. I've been up here trying to rearrange and do all those fun things. And hello, Joanne. Welcome in, sweetheart. And all I'm going to say is it always looks worse before it gets better. Because you have to dig through the hoard and then you may proceed with the arranging. So anyway, I'm going to open this box and I will show you what's in it. I know what one is and the others I've slept since then. But Doug always, he's a very nice guy. He recently hit his 1K. Doug had really worked hard. Hey, Beth, welcome in. Had really worked hard, guys. And a lot of times people get discouraged and they kind of throw their hands up. And you should never do that. Because I was, about a year ago, I was really idle. And I had to say to myself, look, you've got the prowess to do this. Now quit dragging your leg and get in there. So, and as you can see, you know, I've made I have made many, welcome in, Beth. Good to see you. I'm so glad you guys are here. I appreciate it. I know there's auctions going on. So, but anyway, you know, he hit his 1K and I saw Doug work. Thank you very much, Laura. And he worked for it. I mean, he was very persistent in his pursuit. And another thing, Doug is a very humble person. He'd done all those great things and he kept going. He didn't give up. And now he's a good guy. Now he's in a place where he really thought, well, I never thought I would get there. Well, he has worked and he has maintained his videos. And that's what it takes, guys. Some days when you don't feel like doing it, do it anyway. Penelope said she's in jewelry jail like so many of us, right, Penelope? So, but man, you just can't help it when you see something and you've been wanting that. You just cannot help it. Say that's her excuse. Well, I don't know if it's an excuse, it's the facts. Now, these guys are little rice pearls, and I believe that is a vermeil clasp right there. We've all been in jewelry jail. No, it's not well, it is a clasp. How do you work it? We've all been there. My husband told me to slow down, and, I try to, but this is a vermeil clasp, and it's a beautiful set of rice pearls that there's 1, 2, 3, and there are gold. I know this is gold. There are gold stations in between that. It is very delicate. Where's it at? Right there. Those are gold stations. So I thought, why not? And we're looking at 6 strands. No, that's gold, guys. This thing here, I stand corrected. But isn't that beautiful? It's kind of a delicate piece, and those are considered rice pearls, but I just thought that they were beautiful. And pearls are coming in real heavy this year, I believe. But there are the pearls. There's that. Set that over here. Next up on the. But Doug, he gets some really amazing things, and sometimes it's, oh my God, guys, you're going to die when you see this. I forgot all about this. Yes, it's very delicate, and those are actual gold spacers, and that is a gold class. Oh my God, hang on to your hat. She's going to have to hang on to hers too. She may not have to because it's so heavy, but anyway. This is unreal, guys. You're not going to believe this. This is sterling, of all things, and a bunch of beautiful garnets. And when I say a bunch, I'm just not whistling Dixie. Let me clasp it correctly here. When I seen it, I was definitely in love, and I had to have it like I really need it. But hey, you only live once, and why not do it with beautiful, high quality jewelry? This is sterling, and here is mucho garnet, mini garnets. Those are all garnets, and this is sterling silver. Here's your clasp back there. It does have that double clamp system that they always, hey Clint, welcome in, that they always put on a bracelet that has quite a few garnets in it because we don't want to lose it. But those are garnets. Now I knew why I was so excited about this box, but that's garnets. And let me tell you how wide it is. Surely I didn't. Here's one. And we're looking at about, it's good to see you, Clint, and welcome in. Where is my, well, it appears to be about a little bit over an inch, but these are all garnets in sterling silver. Thank you, Laura. I am having a sale tomorrow. I'm excited about that. And we're going to move some things. And, when I shop and I get a good deal, I like to give that. I like to give back because to me, there's nothing more important than the subscribers that have confidence in you. And it never hurts to give someone a deal. So next up we have, I know I'm not getting hurt by any means, guys, just saying. But I do try to give those. Oh my God, guys, this is rock crystal. Oh my heavens. Look at that rock crystal. Let me get some light on the subject. Where's my little doodad here? There it is. Look at that rock crystal. That is some amazing stuff. Yeah, and that's another thing. We always get to meet such wonderful people, and it really does my heart good to know a lot of you guys. Even though we may not have met in person, it is still so amazing. You felt when you've been in a chat with someone for a long time, you feel like you know them. Oh my gosh, Penelope, this is knock your socks off. All I can say, if you ever go out with this, you better hope people are wearing sunglasses because it's going to blind them. But sometimes we look for certain things, and when the time presents itself, we jump in there with both feet. And let me see if I can get this on here. So let's see, it's got that. Well, I'm all thumbs, guys. Come on, go in there. There we go. It's one of those where you hook it through the thing on there and it's like a push type clasp, and I guarantee you it's sterling silver. So let's put it on this. Mercy. Isn't that gorgeous? Just check. I mean, can you imagine that out in the sunlight? Like I said, whoever that you come upon better be wearing. And I love the length. I mean, it's not really long, but man, that rock crystal is amazing. It's very blingy, right up my alley. So there's that one. And I'm going to show you some other goodies that I purchased from him as well. Isn't that something? Oh my God, I was literally drooling when I saw that. So, oh my God, you guys, this is a Taxco piece, I believe. Oh my goodness gracious. So we start out with this amazing clasp right there. Get it to cooperate. This is all sterling, every bit of it. And I'll let you get the full. I mean, this is gorgeous. It almost reminds me of some Native American almost. Look at that. That is all sterling silver. Every bit of it. So there you have your little things like that. Let me get it to where it'll stay straight. Hey, Lenore, welcome in. We're sharing some goodies, but that is all sterling silver and just amazing, just incredible. I just love that. Welcome in, Lenore, sweetie. So this is so odd, guys. Shortly after I purchased this from Doug, now you want to talk about fate. I went on Elizabeth K's jewelry and arts, and look what I found. Sterling silver, just about in the same. And I saw those and I said, oh my gosh. But those are solid sterling as well. And it does have those little paddles. So I believe that's a winner. And that is so odd that that I would look upon something like that. That's like lightning striking twice in the same spot. So I was pretty stoked about that. But this thing is so amazing. It kind of reminds me of Native American in a way. And it is just something else. And I could just see that dawning around my neck. And it's just beautiful. Of course, it does have the natural patina on it, but it is something amazing, let me tell you. There's your clasp right there. I mean, I'm a rhinestone and gemstone lady through and through, but when I saw that, I had to have it. And see, as you can see, they pivot. I had to have it. So we will place that over there. So, and along the way, I have, before we go any further, I am wearing a menagerie of other resellers' jewelry. So, Laura, if you would, as I show these pieces, and yours is one. Thank you, Beth. I did too, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, I love the Victorian era jewelry, and that's what that is, that Victorian era. And there you have your marcasites. Come on, focus. You have your marcasites. I love Victorian stuff. This came from Doug, and the channel's already dropped. This one came from Vintage Jewelry Galore, Anna. Let me get it to cooperate. Oh my gosh, it's giving me a hard time right there. And next, I have a Kirsten Red resale bracelet, which is this bow bracelet that is solid sterling silver. And I got that from Kirsten. This one right here, I got a necklace and earrings to go with it. This is from Jen's Gems. And you have your mother of pearl. It's really beautiful. And the other one is mine. That's a Sarda, and that is black spinel. Over on this hand, we have the bracelet above my watch is a Laura Designs Laura creation, which I wear every single time that I go out. And on this finger is the coordinating ring. And I wear this constantly because it's beautiful. And I believe it's Rose Point is what it's called. I always wear it on my thumb. Then we have, this is from Jody's Jewels, and that is pink conch or whatever you call it. So that's Jody's Jewels. Oh God, guys, when I seen this, I about lost it. Thank you, Miss Laura. I appreciate that. This is from Bruce and Dennis at Bruden's Treasure Chest. It is a Victorian marcasite purse that is sterling silver, and it opens, of all things. And it opens, and it is all sterling. It's an over-the-head necklace. And I'll bring it in because I tell you, it's got onyx on it. I tell you what, it's worthy of emulation. Look at that little beauty. It's wanting to turn on me. Isn't that gorgeous? Once the camera focuses, isn't that beautiful? But this is Victorian era. Thank you for dropping those. It's an over the head, and it's from Victorian era, going right along with what I like. Y'all know how I roll. So next up, I love to collect. Did you miss some, Laura? Which one did you miss? But that's okay. But isn't that so beautiful? Had to have it. So also I'm a collector of, I like marked costume jewelry. And coming at you next is a Kramer bracelet. And I got this this is from Doug. And I got this at one killer of a price. Just look at them rhinestones in that. This is Kramer. Incidentally, I have another Kramer coming, but it's gold tone. And who did I get that from? Bruce and Dennis. But that is a beautiful rhinestone creamer with the safety latch. Anytime you have a bracelet that has a safety latch on it, that's usually on your higher quality pieces. But look at the fire in those stones. I mean, they are literally on fire. So there's that one. So I saw these earrings on one of his shorts. Let me get that out. Remove these earrings. I love the rhinestone. I like those names now. I have to admit that. I can't lie about that. But I will show you these. I like screwbacks really well because with a screwback you can adjust the tension on your that goes against your ear, where a clip not so much. But I still love those as well. And clip earrings, you can use them in a variety of ways. You could put a hair comb in and take the clips and clip it on that hair comb and just create a total different look. And I got these, and these are Hollycraft. And sometimes they do a reveal of jewelry, and if you see it, thank you, Beth. I know I'm guilty of being overindulgent, but these, oh my goodness, are Hollycraft. See the pink stones in those? And they are gold toned to the back. Hey, Merche, welcome in. They are gold toned to the back. But they have the most beautiful stones. Usually when you get up in the names of things, you're going to get quality things. And I have worn these before, and I'll probably wear them again. But I love them because one of the reasons why it had pink stones in it, and I am addicted to pink. Go figure. And this, let's see if I can find that white. It's good to see you, Merche, and welcome in, sweetie. Oh, Lord, here we go with these brand names again. I really like things in sets. Thank you, Brian. That's my thing. If it has earrings with it or something that matches, I'm totally mesmerized by it. But here we have the beautiful Coro. Once I get stop being all thumbs. Lord have mercy. I'll just have to fasten it. And as you know, a lot of these vintage pieces were not, the lengths on them were not long. That's just the way it was. And here we have the beautiful, irresistible, you can't say no to Coro. Thank you, Merche. So I'm going to show you, oh man, this is something. Ouch. When clip earrings have teeth. So, I love Coro and I love Lisner. But here we have the gorgeous. And when he said that this is much prettier in person, look at those. Look at the crazy sparkle in those stones. I mean, when you go into higher end costume jewelry, usually these things, thank you, Merche, usually these things have better quality stones and they're, but I thought that was just an amazing Coro. and that came from Doug as well. So this kind of gives you an idea of what he offers. I mean, he's got some killer stuff, and I am not kidding. Look at that. The bling bling. So now we're going to get to the haul. I didn't pick up a lot, just what I felt like that was. And if you've seen that little short video, you knew exactly where I was and what I had plans of doing. So let me put these back in the box. Here I am. I've got an auction tomorrow, and I'm working right up to the last minute. But I think sometimes when we challenge ourselves, I don't know, I was always a multitasker, but oh my gosh, those garnets, mercy. And I made a statement at the beginning of the year. Yes, Merche, it's very special, that I was going to multiply myself this year. And the only way you can multiply is to get busy, right? So I decided that, and I'm like this, when I come out with, with something or make my mind up, I'm extreme about it. Do I have the video prowess that most people have? Nope. But, you got to get in there and work with the best of them. So off we go to, I found this. It was in the jewelry. Normally I'll sift through the jewelry and look around. And I found this. I was looking through there and I said, wow, that looks kind of nice. And they do have someone that takes the jewelry home with them and searches it, but sometimes they miss something, and that's when I come along and buy it. And something just told me to look on the little shepherd's hook thing. And when I did, to my surprise, wouldn't I love to have the matching earrings? It was a one and only fantastic quality. Thank you, Laura. I've certainly been working it. This is a Lisner. They did not check back here on this. Let me show you the necklace first. That's a Lisner. And the reason why it slipped through the cracks is because they did not look on the shepherd's hook, and it says Lisner. Of course, it might be hard to show, but this is a Lisner. It says it right there, and they missed it, and I got it. Well, thank you, Penelope. And I thought, when I seen it, I said, that's something special. So I took it off the rack and looked at it, and I looked at that shepherd's hook, and lo and behold, it was a Lisner, but it's in great shape. Boy, wouldn't I like to locate the matching earrings to that. Back it up a little bit. So I got them on that one. But, I don't buy as much jewelry as I used to, because most of my patrons are the ones that love glass. And, if you're selling, and you got to give them what they want, right? You got to give them what they want, and I stand and I deliver. And what's this? It seems like I more sell glass than anything else. So, like they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Hey, Doug, welcome in, sweetie. And I am a jewelry lover, tried and true. I got to show a Bruce and Dennis piece. They've been hard on my bank account here lately. I'm kidding. I could, I'll tell you, they kill you when they have such, I mean, they have beautiful, beautiful stuff. Where's the back of that and how did that come off? Let's see how it fits. And they are killing me about every week. But they're really fun, and Dennis is the master necklace maker. He never ceases to amaze us on his. Well, I'll leave it off. The necklaces he makes, and I believe he could make good money doing something that he does. He said he makes the necklace while he's watching TV. I believe he could make some money, like say somebody wants he does it with vintage jewelry that may be broken, and he revitalizes that into other jewelry. So, ouch. This is for Bruce and Dennis. I can't leave them out. And as you know, I love the pink. No surprise, right? One thing about me, I'm very transparent. I'm not a mean person, but I just tell it like it is because life is way too short. We can say things with a little bit of class. That doesn't say that a few times my green eyes have been really green, because it has happened. Look at this, guys. You want to talk about gorgeous. It has that butterfly, and look at those breathtaking colors. Gorgeous. Got some faceting going on in there, and very well made, very high quality. You can tell when something's all that. You can tell, or at least I can. But I like the Coro and the Lisner and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a big one. And I think, guys, jewelry's for the wearing. Now, you may not be as bold as I am, but if you got something beautiful, life is too short. Wear it. Shoot. I wear what I want to, whether people like it or not, because I know who I am. But isn't that gorgeous? Speaking thereof, I went into the thrift today, and this lady was at the counter, and she looked at me, and I looked at her. And I just went about my business, and she kept hovering around me, and she was making me mad. There was something about her that was irritating me. If you think I'm somebody, just say, hey, are you so-and-so? Don't hover. She was making me mad. And I'm not the type of person that gets angry, but something about her was really getting on my nerves, and I gave her a look, and she took off. I am guilty of those looks at times, but have you ever met someone? Yeah, Beth's got a bar fight ring that if you need your dental work readjusted, that'll sure do it. So we had a good old time last night laughing about that. So I have an odd number of these. We had so much fun. I was up here working and laughing, and it was funny. I didn't say I was just a little goofy at times. But, why not have fun? Be goofy, if I'm goofy, I'll admit it. But you can't be serious all the time, right? So I did pick up, there's 7 of these in the set. And from what I could see, it said Anchor Hawking, but however, I did not. This must have been early anchor hawking. Nope, I was wrong. Well, no wonder I didn't see it. So, why was I thinking I got anchor hawking on the brain? I think. Okay, these are green and they are vintage Indiana glass, Whitehall Cubist avocado green glassware. I know, Merche, you don't have to say much to me to get me in a conversation, and thank you. I take that as a compliment. So we're looking at approximately a little over 6 inches, a couple marks. I do have 7. Uh-oh, Brian. And I have 7. Usually I go for those even numbers, but I just thought that they were wonderful. Thank you, Merche. And I have 7. Notice how that kind of, stands out along the bottom. I'm not for sure what these hold, you guys. Holy moly. Excuse me, I didn't mean to raise my voice. Oh, you guys, I usually have good senses when it comes to glass. Do you know on eBay right now, 4 of these 6-inch and 12 ounce, they're 12 ounces, Indiana glass, 4 of these are selling for $55. And like I said, they hold 12 ounces, so, but they are beautiful. Brian, I didn't know you. Brian's getting vintage fever. And I was so excited about going thrifting. I forgot my wedding ring. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't put my wedding ring on. So I have 7 of those. I usually like even numbers, but sometimes it just doesn't happen that way, right? Oh my gosh, I found the most amazing trinket boxes, and one of them is the alabaster. You got to see it. I also found this trinket box. Oh my goodness, Penelope says, OMG, I have the picture that was my mom's. She served her sweet iced tea with it. Oh wow. Hey Bruce, were your ears burning? I just showed one of your marvelous pieces that I got here a couple rounds ago, and welcome in. Good to see you. And Laura, if you would drop Bruce's link, I'd appreciate it. But we started out with a package from Doug. Then we went into the things I got in the past. Then we showed that magnificent, and this is another thing that is another bling bling, and this is I got this from Bruce, if I can hold still. Bling, bling. I like to give everyone equal. All right. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. So, this is a Roma al fresco made in, better get my eyes here, made in Japan exclusively for Elizabeth Arden. So this is made for Elizabeth Arden. When I got the top off, I will show you what is on there. That right there. Elizabeth Arden she's cosmetic and perfume and things like that. Dennis started making cuff bracelets. He might bring 2 out tomorrow, not Christmas ones, but he's going to start having them for summer and fall. You ought to see some of his bracelets. Oh my gosh. And here is that, but Elizabeth Arden is known for fragrance as well as cosmetics. And there is the top right there. Elizabeth Arden things that you would see in these mall settings, that something comparable to Dillard's and so on and so forth. But it is 4.5 inches across, and then the highest point is about 5.5. But this was made exclusively so collectors. So moving on. I usually make a couple rounds. I don't recognize who that person is. Well, hello. I see an A and hey, and I don't think I recognize that person. But welcome in. So, created in Italy. Genuine alabaster. Here, let me get this. And I love to get things that have stickers of proof of what they are. That is still very readable. And this is a trinket box, and it's alabaster. And it is in shape of a heart. Maybe that light's raining on my parade. Here, let me turn it off. This is alabaster. And as you can see, it has that created in Italy. And then on the back, but this is not just any trinket box. Most trinket boxes open like that, right? Not this one. Look how this opens. It is hinged. It is alabaster. And it closes like that. Isn't that amazing? I had to get it. And it is vintage. The thrift store I go to always marks their items when they're vintage. Oh, yeah. You never know what Dennis is coming up with next, but it's always, isn't that different? And actually, I'm going like this, and I'm like, wait a minute. And then I twisted it and found out that it opens like that. And I thought, isn't that novel? Got all the stickers on it and created in Italy. So I like to have that proof there. Heart keepsake box swivel top made in Italy. Genuine alabaster by DUCCEESCHI. Whoever that is. I didn't even take a picture when I seen it. I just picked it up because I knew there was something special. So, like I said, they didn't have that. Usually they have so many things that makes your head swim, but maybe they had sold a lot previous to me dropping in. I was having thrift shop, whatever that is. I was missing the thrift shop. I was having withdrawals from the thrift shop because it's been a regular thing in my life for the last over 2 years. So, oh man, this is so pretty. But yes, I thought that Lisner was a score. See, sometimes they slip up and put those things out, you know. I just kind of, they have them hanging on racks, and I just take a handful and pull them out like that. Thrift shop fever, you got that right. This is pretty, guys. We're delirious, Brian. We've got the fever. So, nothing wrong with that. As long as it makes everybody happy, there's no cure for it. The only thing that can save you is going thrifting. That's it. There's no variation away from So let me back. Oh, and I forgot about that. So I thought that this was pretty nice. Let's see here. I'm not wanting to send it to someone's email. Let's Google that. Search image. So, oh my goodness. So what we have here is, oh, this is like it's a New Orleans hand painted frosted apothecary jar. Look, here's the base of it. Look at that. It's hand painted. It is frosted. And it's apothecary jar. Who would put something like apothecary? We think about medication, and that is hand painted on there. And we have the lid. Extra shelves are the opposite of a cure. And there we have our lid, and it is frosted and it is hand painted. Thank you, Brian. We got Brian all, and there, and then on the bottom of this, it has, this is probably fired gold on the bottom of that. That's right here on the bottom. Of course, there are some skips in the design, but for what it is, let me see how old it is. But for what I know, Laura, I'm dying to decorate. Well, this right here, the description in Etsy says it's Orleans, Italy. I could just hear Clint laughing now. Well, one thing about decorating early, you certainly get a jump on the holiday. But this says that this is from Italy. White satin glass pedestal compote. So you always, that's exactly what it is. I was thinking apothecary. I think they made a mistake on their listing. But there we have it. Isn't that gorgeous? How beautiful is that? I don't decorate like for Christmas. I used to really decorate a lot, but sometimes when you get older and the thrill is gone, you're like, oh, I didn't know I was. Let's see. But I thought that was just lovely, so I picked that up. Thank you, Brian. I do try to get the best, and like I said, they didn't have a tremendous a lot like they do on some days, but they do sell a lot of items. You got Clint, he's going to start tonight. He said there's no time like today. So, and we have yet another beautiful vintage piece. Let me find the base. There's the cup. One thing about this store now, they don't play around when it comes to wrapping stuff. And I tell them I always utilize the wrapping paper. I don't throw it away. Waste not, want not, right? I do not throw it away. I do utilize it. I use it. I use a lot of things on shipping, depending. I have used egg cartons, pool noodles, styrofoam left from we had a big screen TV, and it had all of that styrofoam, and that is the best. Oh, I didn't do much after mom passed away. I know Brian took care of his mother, and they were really close. And I think sometimes when if someone has a health issue, that you should spend as much time with them as you can, because we just never know, guys, when our number, we all have an expiration date. I just had my house permanently decorated for Halloween, plus a little tiki party. Aw, Clint, but I think a lot of times, like, Brian's really close to me and Laura. And I think sometimes when we suffer loss like that sometimes through association with other people, we can make someone feel better and let them know that they're not alone. If they want someone to talk to, that someone is there. And that is absolutely true, because, losing someone's really hard. It really is. But, we all have our day. But my hope would be, and I'm usually a really big, I used to work in the home health care industry, and it was very rewarding to me because, guys, a lot of those people didn't have anybody. They had family, but they were not very much help, and that's where I came in. I enjoyed it because I knew it made a difference. Yeah, we're Brian's older sisters. So, and it does make a difference. And, I was always their advocate. Nobody mistreated them and got away with it. Because if I found out, I would call my direct supervisor. And I'll never forget the time that I had this lady, and two sisters got into a fist fight in the kitchen where I was having lunch. And I'm like, one of them threw a shoe, and I said, "All right, ladies," I said, "I don't care I said, you're not fighting in here. If you want to knock each other down and pull each other's hair, you go outside, because you're not doing it in here." And how dare them throw a shoe in my presence. But yeah, I did experience things like that. But, my main objective was to protect that client. And boy, I was vicious. Well, I always looked out for them if they needed something. I didn't let nobody run over them. I really didn't. Because I was their advocate, and I took my job very seriously. I had this one client that she loved Christmas, and she kept her house decorated. She had a Christmas tree. She loved Elvis, and she had a Christmas tree, and I remember she wanted some lights hung. Thank you, Brian. I really I think that people do need people want to be loved and accepted, guys. And she wanted lights up, and she had some sons, but their priorities were in other places. To be truthful, I really never hung. She lived in an apartment. It was, and I hung those icicle lights for her, and that made her so happy. I'm like, oh boy, I've never done this before. And I went out there and done it because it made her happy. And she was a big fan of Elvis. So I got her an Elvis ornament, and she started crying. That's true, Laura, because man, the horns, they come out quick and without warning. And she goes, I said, don't cry. She goes, well, her husband was deceased. And she goes, it reminds me of what my husband would do. And incidentally, I'm the one, I'll never forget it, guys. It was St. Patrick's Day. So I went to work, and I went in and I could hear that she always got up. She had had a stroke and stuff. She always got up at, like, pretty close to when I was to come in. She unlocked the door. Thank you, Beth. I'm just a softie at heart, really, unless it comes to jewelry. No, I'm kidding. And the door was open, and I could hear the TV, and sometimes she'd watch TV. So I decided if she was sleeping to let her rest. Well, I sat there for about 15 minutes, and I said, usually she's watching TV and you'd hear her giggle. So I didn't hear nothing, and I walked in there. Of course, it was, there was the sun wasn't out, and the room was like, kind of dim. And she had a hospital bed, and she was setting up in that hospital bed. And I said, "Are you okay?" And guys, I knew in my heart what happened. So I walked over and I touched her ankle, and she was gone. So what I did is I grabbed her phone and called 911. Oh, oh yeah, Brian. We do care. We're very caring. That's why you picked us, because we are loving, right? That and a little bit sassy, right, Bev? And I knew she was gone, and she had had a stroke, and when you pass, your muscles relax, and she had one of her arms was drawn. It was laying by her side. I know, Beth, that was possibly the hardest day that. So it looked as if, guys, she was trying to get up because her glasses were on the floor. She'd had another stroke. And I just called 911, told them that she was deceased. And of course, they always send the police out. And so they asked me some questions, and I said, they said, do you know if she talked to anyone previously over the weekend? I said, well, here's her phone. And you get real close to them, but you also know that they could pass away, and you have to prepare yourself for that. But it tore me all to pieces, and I had lost about three, and it just tears you all to pieces. And I would usually have to take a few days off because I would be so distraught, because when they were more to me than just a job. They were human. We got attached to each other, and it just really, like, somebody knocked the breath out of you. So I would be off a couple of days, and they'd call and say, we know that you just lost a client, but we have this other person. And I said, well, I'm not doing anyone any good here brooding. So where are they at? Oh, I worked for a home health care agency, Merche. I wasn't a nurse. I didn't have the education a nurse had. I did know CPR. I was certified in CPR, but I was not a nurse by any form or fashion. But we came in, we helped them with, like, if they need to be taken to the store, if we need to go to the store with them, if they needed a bath. I never had to give a male client a bath. Thank you, God, because I don't know who would have been more embarrassed, me or them. And we appreciate you, Brian. And when you go in, that that person could pass, but you don't think about it. You just do the best you can do for them and help them in any way you can. And yeah, I didn't have any nursing's degree. But I'd seen a lot, I knew a lot about their medicines and stuff like that, but never missed not one day until someone passed or my husband had taken him to the ER. But I didn't believe in missing. I always was there 15 minutes early. I did not, I knew that that person depended on me and I was going to be there. I was just stubborn like that. Okay, here, guys, we have this is a vintage Jeanette glass clear clear glass lidded candy dish. This is a small one with a grapevine from the royal shell pattern. So there you have. I sold somebody something that had grapes on it. So there you go. You do have that texturing right there. Then here's your lid. But I was always the type of person that, I didn't let nobody get away with nothing. I would not do it. I remember one day I pulled up, and guys, yeah, Merche, it does really. One day I pulled up to this lady lived in an apartment, and they seen me coming and they scattered like roaches because they were constantly, see, the lady was diabetic and she had to have the needles for the insulin, and I knew what they were doing, and they ran when they seen me coming because they knew I would not take their bull, and if I found out about what they did, I would report it. You don't mistreat people in front of me because, man, I'll light you up. I'm serious. None of my clients ever were taken advantage of, verbally abused, or nothing, because I would nail somebody. I really would. And I know it sounds mean, but I would. Nobody was going to mistreat somebody. I would not allow it. But and the same person, there was days that I sat in the parking lot and I looked up and I said, oh God, what's going to happen today? But I hung in there because she needed me. She needed someone. I know, Brian, I get pretty vicious sometimes, but nobody's going to mistreat anybody on my watch because I will really corner them. And I'll ask them how would they like to be turned into the Adult Protection Agency. Now, I'm not one to be toyed with when it comes to, I don't like to see people abused, animals, children, or anybody, because I get fired up. When I get so emotional, I cry about it. That's when it really gets kind of ugly, but I try not to reach that point. But no, I really enjoyed it. However, you have the other hand where I never understood this, guys. A lot of people want their parent or whatever looked after, so on and so forth. But the minute they get close to you, jealousy creeps in. And it happened to me many times. I'm not going to change my way of interacting with my clients because this 40-year-old person over here is jealous. I won't do it. Yeah, Brian, he took care of his mother really well. And I wouldn't do it. I didn't have to do it. Yet they want you to come in and be all this, that, and the other. And I was all that and then some. And then they want to be jealous about it. Let me tell you something. If you have a parent that needs to be watched after, and you can find someone with that higher caliber, for God's sake, don't alienate them and grow up. Just if that was me, both my parents have been gone my mother died when I was 2 months old. My dad died in 1987. If I had someone that I could trust looking after my parents, I would be bending over backwards to make sure they knew how much they were appreciated instead of somebody being jealous. I know. So I was not going to change and be distant from my clients. I would not do it. So it's kind of like that old saying, guys, they don't miss the water until the well runs dry, you know. We have yet more. This is heavy, guys. We saved the heaviest for last. Lord have mercy, that's heavy. Man, look at all this paper I get to wrap with. I'm going to fold that in half and keep that. Shoot. Waste not, want not. So, put the box over there. But I know I was worse than the old country saying, I was born in Kentucky. I was worse than a biting sow. Yeah. So, yeah, this is the Jeanette. I was so busy jawing, I forgot what I was doing. But this is from the Jeanette Glass Company. It is a candy dish. Shoot, you can't put much in it. It would be a wonderful trinket box. You know, who eats that amount of candy without having to refill several times? Just saying. But back then, and it is footed, back then people were more dainty than they are today. That's why back all these vintage necklaces are so small because, as you can see, their candy eating habits were kind of. So, man, this thing's heavy, guys. It's lead crystal. And look at that. Look at that bottom. Penelope's like, wow, I never knew that side of Gina ever existed. I see her in the chat all the time, but I didn't know she was that feisty. I'm harmless, guys. And look at this is heavy, guys. Look at the bottom of that beauty. That is almost like a kaleidoscope on the bottom, and it does have weight to it. And I will, what was that? I will give you the specs on it. I know I took a picture of it. I usually take the phone and do all my picture taking, and I know, aha. So, Lord have mercy. It says this is a large decorative crystal base, likely dating from the mid 20th century, and I believe it, possibly from France or Bohemia. And Penelope said she's in East Tennessee. My grandparents had a farm. I'm lucky to know some things. Yeah, I tell you, that's where I was born in Kentucky. Then we moved to Indiana when I was 6 years old. It says it's suitable for a centerpiece or for holding floral arrangements. So it is vintage. Let me see if I can find anything like it. Let's see. It's bohemian, absolutely. There's a lot of descriptions in here. But I just thought it was so beautiful. And it's heavy. And you listen for that ping. Definitely lead crystal. Yeah, Tennessee is really beautiful. I remember we would go to, we went to Dollywood and we went to Gulf Shores, Alabama. That's where I had been shopping for sunglasses. It only took me a mere 2 hours. And I walked out into the ocean, and then I was walking back, and a big old wave hit me and knocked me foot over fist, and off went my sunglasses. And what's the first thing you do when you get hit by a wave? What opens up when you get hit by a wave? Your mouth. So man, it hit me, and I was doing a somersault before I knew it. Then they bought me this poster with a dolphin wearing sunglasses, and I said, "Ha ha, very funny." But isn't that gorgeous? Look at that, how that's cut. I tell you, you've never been knocked over until you get knocked over by a wave. I was just I was just in awe about it, and I didn't think about it, and boom. So this is approximately 10, 11 inches tall. Yeah, it was pretty scary, but this is gorgeous, guys. Very beautiful. It does, like I said, it does have weight to it, but it's a beauty. Got a lot of that cut crystal right there. Talk about putting muscle on a fella. But yeah, the ocean is. Thank you, Brian. I really try to pick out what I believe that you guys like, and we all like the same thing, so it makes it really easy. This needs to be washed. I usually clean everything up. A lot of times I'll use like those Clorox bleach wipes to kind of disinfect a little bit, but. Yeah, whenever you go in there, you're never disappointed. There's always something amazing waiting for you there. It's really pretty vase. And they had that, well, you seen in the video, they had that big long space beside the building and it was full. So they're never at a loss for having items. They always have them. You just never know. Merche says, "Me too, Penelope. In fact, last night I bought a ring that says Ocean Lover." Yeah, the ocean is so beautiful yet so dangerous. So, Brian, the ocean is like a woman, very beautiful but can be dangerous. That's how I describe. You know, let me get rid of that. Darn. But I'm still working it, guys. I'm still, man. But, you know, that's what you guys like. So, if you're going to bring it, do it right. So, but I still have some work to do, but to me it's fun. It's an accomplishment. And oh, Merche, you didn't see the brooch hat. That is my submission for the brooch hat. Merce's like, dang, she don't play around. Thank you, Merce. Debbie is her good thing. She's got a strong neck because she needs it with this. Thank you. I'll tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody. I'm kidding. Those right there are clip earrings. Don't tell anybody now. Said here she is on a public platform blabbing. I'm messing with you. Yeah, that's we got some clip that these are clips, but they didn't say why not. It works. That's why I say if you put your hair, say like you pull your hair back in a headband and a plastic one, you can take costume really fancy earrings and wear them on there. That's a secret, guys. Don't tell anybody, even though we're on a public platform, right? But yeah, you can. A lot of times you can clip necklaces together and use a clip earring as an enhancer on something. And people are none the wiser. Hey, sometimes you just have to use what you have. It's called utilization. Sometimes you just have to. You're welcome, Merche. I'm going to go. Here it is, 8:08. My goodness, where does the time go? So I'm going to let you guys go. I know there's other options going on. Yeah, to clip it, take some. Yeah, you can do that. I mean, just think about it. The sky's the limit. Do your own thing. Be the best original you. And well, good, Brian. And it's been so good to have you guys here. I really appreciate it. Tomorrow's that sale. So there'll be a lot of things going up, some things that you've seen, but was so far back that it will be new to you. So, and you're welcome, Merche. You guys have a rest. You have a blessed rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget about that sale tomorrow. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys. You guys have a great night. Bye bye. Thank you for being here. 6 p.m. Yes, sir. Eastern Standard. You guys have a great rest of your night. Well, thank you, Penelope. I felt the same way. You guys have a great afternoon.